And good morning at 7:04 on this Friday, February 10th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. A Friday morning, and we're all set to talk about Wilson Bank and Trust this morning. And glad to have you with us, of course. I have a trio of gentlemen around the table this morning, and we're going to have the whole first half hour to talk about Wilson Bank and Trust Southern Home and Garden Expo that starts this afternoon about 4 o'clock, I understand. We have Kurt Baker here. Kurt, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
Hasn't been long since I saw you last night.
A few hours.
Quite the center of attention last night a number of times.
It was fun. I looked down at my Apple Watch this morning, and I definitely got my steps in last night, that's for sure.
We have John Presley with us this morning. John, Assistant Vice President, Lending with Wilson Bank. And John, a good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're right here to join in the conversation, as well as DJ Woods, loan officer. And DJ, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Coleman.
I saw you yesterday. Was it last night? I saw you sometime yesterday, and you said, I'll be there tomorrow, something like that.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Well, we're glad to have all three of you. And before we get into this, I think it was a really great night last night. And I believe as chairman of the board, you gave up that position, Kurt. And we have a new chairman of the board as of last night.
Yes, sir. Wes Dugan. We're
And,
excited for him.
But what really is good is the one of the awards that was given last night, the Business Person of the Year, and you can tell everybody who that was who don't already know.
Yeah, absolutely. And as chairman of the board, in full disclosure, there's committees that vote on that. And from my understanding, the way that flow went, there are several names mentioned. And Mr. John McDermott, his name was one of them, mentioned for a nomination. And people were just kind of blown away that he hadn't received it before. And so it was a unanimous choice, and certainly a proud moment for me to be able to be up there and to give him his award. Well deserved for everything that he does in the community.
He is, I guess, your ultimate boss at Wilson Bank and Trust, or maybe the board that he answers to, but whatever.
Yep, he is all of our bosses. Yep.
Well, he has come a long way. They mentioned him starting out maybe as a loan officer or whatever. He worked his way up to this position.
Yeah, worked at a bank in Chattanooga and got the opportunity to come home and serve his community, leading the Badura office down there as a branch manager and loan officer. And I guess it's been a good decision, right?
Well, yes. I want to mention three others real quickly here. Mine and your friend David Hale got an award last night. It's a Lifetime Member Award. He's number 45.
Yep.
I was fortunate to be number 40 about 5 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And I'm really happy for David in this regard. And we're very happy for Susie Bay.
Yep.
James.
What about them pants she had on last night?
Susie Bay James.
Yeah. Did you see the? Hold on. Let's talk about those pants she had on last night. Did you see those? They were shining in the light. They had gold emblems on them. Susie, you were well dressed.
Well, she got one of the Cedar Tree Awards, and that, of course, they kind of created a different category, I think. This is one when you have a faulty plumbing and do complete renovation from faulty plumbing, something like that.
Yep.
And anyway, the radio station looks so much better.
It does.
I guess that was 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been close to it. Great fresh look.
And then we got to mention terrific Teresa this morning. Teresa
Spots.
Botts got the Woman of Excellence Award, and we'll talk about others, but we need to get busy here and talk about what's happening this afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon it's our annual Southern Home and Garden Expo. This one is a big one. It's our 30th anniversary of this event. It's hard to think that it's been that long. I know all of us, DeJay and JP and I, we've been at the bank for all of us close to these guys 10 years, and me going on 18, and it's just gotten bigger and better every single year, and we're certainly proud with the lineup that we have this weekend for everybody.
Well, let me say we're going to be going till 7:30 here talking about this, and Senator Pody will be on the second half today, so we'll still have our Friday Senate report, but it'll be on the second half today. So we've really got a lot to talk about, and I want you other two to contribute here too. We're all together here this morning, and John Presley, any particular thing you want to tell us about?
Yeah, as Kurt said, we've got a good lineup coming. We've got, close to 110 vendors filling up pretty close to 200 spots. So We've got a array of people there, anything home and garden related. And anytime also, we usually roll out some good specials here. So we've got a couple home equity line of credit specials, a construction special coming out. So like everybody to come out and try to get some business with us and business with you. And we'd like to partner with you in anything you're trying to do.
And DJ Woods, these specials are kind of right down your line as a loan officer, right?
Yeah, that's right. We've got a lot of
We
different.
can't tell what they are.
You got to, you got to show up to find out, and we'll be chirping those out as much as we can to as many people as we can. The one thing I want to hit on is that having the expo, like I said, it's our 30th event. This is one of the first ones that I've been a part of as far as the setup goes, and to be a part of that and everything that goes on behind the scenes, everyone that's on the committee that put this thing together. It's not as it flows so smooth when you show up just to be there, but to see all the people that work behind the scenes to make this event possible. There's a list of them. I'd go through them, but everybody, they know who they are, and we really appreciate them as well for all their help, especially the marketing team that we have at the bank.
When you pull off something as big as this and have as many people coming that participate, it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of work and planning goes into this, and I don't know how long ago you started, but I would imagine several months ago.
Oktoberfest ended, and we started right up on Southern Home and Garden Expo.
Yeah. All right. It is officially at 4 o'clock today, right?
Yes, sir. 4 to 8.
4 to 8 this evening, and then tomorrow, what are the hours?
9 to 5.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you always have a lot of vendors for this, and a big variety of vendors. I guess there'll even be people selling food and drink somewhere, won't it?
Yeah, that's the great thing about the show, because it's number one, it has something to offer for everybody. Whether you're building your forever home that you want to live in, right now what we're seeing with obviously interest rate increases is folks choosing to just stay in the home that they're in and maybe doing some remodels to the bathroom and kitchen and things of that nature. And that's why we roll out the home equity line of credit specials this year, just because we find that the most valuable product for most people right now. But you mentioned just, concessions. Yes, obviously you can come and spend an hour there, and maybe you're there to see specific vendors, but you can just spend the day with us. And we have Pin Pig Barbecue, Salvo's Pizza, and Traveling Tom's Coffee Truck that'll actually be there this year. So come make a day out of it, have lunch, and eat dinner with us, and we'd love to have you.
Well, I think you've got a special guest, actually guests, 2 of them, that we need to talk about this morning. Who wants to talk about Brooke and Bryce? They're looking at you, DJ.
Yeah, so Brooke and Bryce, Bryce being a Lebanon local, most folks didn't know him from having grown up around here, but they have their own TV show now, where it's kind of, if you've seen some of the home renovation shows, a lot of the times it's the man that does a lot of the physical labor, and the woman's the interior designer, and it's almost the exact opposite of that. So Bryce has got the mindset to go in and decorate or do the decor for the home, and then Brooke does a lot of the manual labor. So we're going to have, I believe we're going to have some clips running. They're going to have a booth, so they're going to be there to be able to speak with them and talk with them. They'll be able to walk about, and we'll have as far as on a TV or a Mondo pad that's going to show some of the clips from their show. So pretty excited about that. That's going to be really fun, especially if you haven't seen it. Maybe it'll intrigue you to look at it a little bit more.
Well, people are probably wondering, are they going to be there the whole time, or just a certain part of the day?
It'll be certain parts of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly. And it's kind of a cool story. Like DJ said, obviously Bryce being a local Lebanon guy, I mean, most people don't know this, but he's actually specializes in teeth. I mean, he's an orthodontist, right? So, he does this kind of somewhat on the side, and it is an interesting story where Bryce is the designer and Brooks the builder, but both of them are very detailed. If you haven't seen the show, they were recognized by Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's obviously a name most folks know in the Magnolia Network, and that's kind of how their rise to fame came.
Well, it's that's really a feather in your cap, an extra one this year to have them.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. What else we need? We got about a minute and a half before we go to a break.
Special expo rates. I'll chirp in there. We got to make sure we talk about the rates. We're starting those off today. So stop in, see one of your lenders at your local branch. We've got a new online system that we're pushing out with a gentleman by the name of Nate. who's rocking and rolling on the online side. Aaron for new accounts. We've got 2 different specials as far as construction and some deposits that go as well. So really, really good stuff that we're kicking off. I think it's today, this morning. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the good things about this. You really get in earnest about getting some loans, getting people started. But I'll bet a lot of people have visited this expo over the years and really benefited getting some ideas and getting some great rates and really benefited.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. Specifically around construction, this is really the kickoff to our lending season, this home show that we do every single year. Typically in the past, with the exception of the last 3 or 4 or 5 years to where you're just blowing and going, typically you'll see a slowdown in the borrowing side around December and January and February of every year. Past 3 or 4 years hadn't been the case. We're seeing a little bit more of that tradition this year, but this kicks off our lending season. So as DJ and JP mentioned, those home equity line of credit special rates, I can almost assure you that they're going to be some of the bottom market rates out there on HELOCs.
All right, well, keep all that in mind. We're going to take a break right here and more coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, that regular oil change, $34.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $16.73. West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A steady flow of traffic continues out of Rutherford County up through the Hickory Hollow area on 24 going westbound. Still looks good right now down I-40 through Wilson County as far as accidents. Now, there's plenty of troopers scattered up and down the interstate on I-40 in Wilson and Smith County once again this morning. Hey, Snapdragon Hemp, serving up lab-tested top-shelf hemp products across Tennessee, edibles, flowers, concentrates. You can order online at snapdragon420.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
It's tax time, and Cars Unlimited Tax Service is locally owned and has 33 years of experience in preparing taxes. They do upfront loans of $250 to $6,000. They're also an authorized IRS e-file provider. Call 615-449-2955 or stop by 1006 West Main Street in Lebanon. Cars Unlimited Tax Service stands ready to help you prepare your taxes. Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. It's a Friday morning, and our entire first half today is devoted to Wilson Bank and Trust 30th Annual Southern Home and Garden Expo. And it's going to be at the Ward Ag Center, at the Expo Center, actually. Where all are you anywhere besides the Expo?
No, it's just the Farm Bureau Expo Hall. I can't remember if it's, what would that be? The North Hall, I guess is what it'd be, the big room in there.
Yeah.
And then we actually rent out the smaller rooms as well for just vendor concessions to where they can go in there, grab a sandwich, relax, get their feet up a little bit too.
Well, the fact that it's the 30th one says a lot for continuity. And now, what happened with COVID? I can't even remember. Did we have to miss any time?
Man, we did a virtual one, which
right.
was a great event. But obviously, you're limited on what you can do virtually. Through the chamber, we did a lot of our stuff virtually, and Coleman, between you and I pray to the Lord we never go back to virtual anything. It's just it's tough.
All right. Well, Kurt again is senior vice president, and he's the Lebanon market leader. We have DJ Woods, a loan officer, and we have John Presley here. And John, you were telling me, 11 years, I believe, you said?
Yes, sir.
You've been with the bank?
Coming up on it.
Assistant vice president, all of you involved in lending. And then I found out, DJ, you and Kurt go back a long way, even played at Cumberland together.
Yeah, Kurt goes back a little bit further than I do, about 10 or 15 years.
30 years. Yeah.
And John, you went to Lebanon High?
I did. So born and raised here local, went to Southside Elementary, Lebanon High School, all the way through. So I've been here my whole life anyway.
Well, we do have a lot of local people at Wilson Bank, and that's a good thing too.
Yep, really in all the markets we serve, whether it's Murfreesboro or, Williamson County, Davidson, I mean, typically the bank's model is if you're going to be there and you're going to be a leader and in management, we kind of like you to live and work and play and hopefully grow up in the community that you serve.
All right, this expo, of course, is means a lot of things to a lot of people. Let's talk about what's there maybe for people that are in their 50s or 60s. Some of them you mentioned remodeling. That might be something that some have in mind. What kind of vendors or what's there to see if you're thinking about remodeling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got several construction companies that are there that can do anything from build the house all the way to remodeling or adding on any kind of additions. So yeah, I mean, there's something for all ages at that place, somebody to talk to anyway, for any plans that they may have.
And as far as sometimes refinancing, I haven't heard that mentioned a lot in bank talk lately, but
Forgot what that was, Coleman.
well, are people still refinancing?
They are. We're seeing a little bit of refinance activity, specifically through cash out refinances. Somebody that owes maybe a small balance on their home and has a high interest rate credit card that they just kind of want to consolidate at a little bit lesser rate. We're still seeing a little bit of that activity go on.
Well, you're going to have some special rates. I think most of these pertain to building or remodeling or something pertaining to the home or landscaping or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is that right? Or is it anything? Come in here.
Yeah,
somebody.
we've got some more specials as well. We like to have get some money in as far as CDs go. So we've got a couple specials going right now. I know we can mention those rates. Looking at a 6-month CD at 4.05 APY and an 8-month CD at 4.15 APY. So pretty good rates there, especially for a short-term lock. So that's more rates that we've got going around and more specials. So.
Well, you don't have to go to the expo to get that one.
No,
but
sir.
These special loan rates, you do.
Yeah.
Got to be there, right?
Yeah, that's right. You have to be there, have to register, and we've got a couple of different things that we're giving away as part of that. So what you're registering to win are the prizes that we're giving out. Wilson Bank and Trust has sponsored a $500 MasterCard gift card, Shark Vacuum, and a chainsaw. Fakes and Hookers also donated $2,500 to Benjamin Moore Paints. And then Kaufman Farms has 4 Adirondack chairs that they're giving out as well. So all those can be entered to win just by showing up and registering. We have some another gift. I'll save the mystery there for the first couple hundred folks that show up. It is limited for Friday night and Saturday, so the first that show up do get the opportunity to receive those if they do register to win the prizes I just mentioned.
All right. Well, you said $2,500 of border paint.
Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin.
I'm sorry. All right, but Fakes and Hookers doing that one.
That's right, yes, sir.
So that's a lot of
That's a
paint.
big grab. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned something for maybe somebody in their 50s. There's just a couple of things that pop into my mind. Obviously, if you've accumulated a little cash, as JP mentioned, obviously CD rates there. But just, it's anything, Coleman, from we'll have a shed company there. If you're looking at maybe purchasing an RV to start traveling more, safe rooms to put in your house for obviously the weather's a little bit more extreme these days around here. So just thinking about a couple of those one-offs, it's not all just about construction and home improvements. There are those one-offs that you have there too.
What about a prospective first-time homeowner? What do you got attractive for them? Maybe a lending rate for sure.
I was going to say, I'm not sure on the rate side, but I know we do have some of our secondary market lenders that are there as well that can perform that first-time home buyer product for them. So I believe we've got at least one at every shift that you could speak with and get into those products as well.
I know in the past, from time to time, you've had some seminars. Now, we did mention the special guest, Brooke and Bryce. That's not necessarily a seminar, though, is it?
No, it's not a seminar. They're there to talk with people and just talk a little bit about what they do and help promote the show. When we look at seminars over the last couple of years, we chose not to do those this year. The Home Depot has always helped us out with the kits for the children to put together a birdhouse or something like that. Doing those a little bit differently this year. We have 40 of them that families can come in on Saturday morning and pick those up and take them home and do them there at the home. What we found is just hammers banging around in that concrete room. It's hard to hear and things of that nature. So we're trying something a little bit different this year with that.
Well, live and learn, as they say.
Yeah.
And you try not to have it's not a carbon copy every year of the previous year. And that's probably one of the things that makes it great and keeps people coming back because they want to see, hey, well, we're doing different this year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with new businesses that come into town all the time, we have some of those that are part of the show this year. We've got our, what I'll call seasoned vets that are here again this year. So it allows a lot of opportunity for folks who are coming to town to speak with local contractors, local businesses in ways that they can improve, their home or explore new products and services, not only with the bank, but with other vendors that we have there as well.
And that's really what the spirit of the event is about. I mean, Wilson Bank and Trust does put this on annually. And of course, we always, as any opportunity, we'd like to meet new folks and attract business out of it. But really, it's about business for the vendors that are there, the 110 plus vendors that are going to be with us. How can we spur some business for them? And continuously, we just see folks come back and come back and come back and tell us, hey, this is one of the better shows that I attend. I get more business off this show than any other one. So that's really the spirit of the event. And it gives us time to maybe meet some folks, those vendors that we don't bank, to hopefully maybe bring them on board as well.
Right, and if you're taking care of your customers, you're helping them grow and expand their business. That's very valuable to the bank. They're going to stay with you.
Building partnerships.
You're just going to continue to grow and grow, which you've done for, 30 years?
36.
36, yeah.
Boy, the time flies. I still remember I was there in 1987 in May when they had the little house there on West Main Street and the bank opened.
I've seen pictures, but one of the windows, I think it was the left window of the house down Main Street, it was actually a built-in ATM machine inside the window of the old house and had kind of like those hot tub pool steps walking up to it and stuff. So I believe also it may have been the first fax machine in town, was it not? Or
I don't know.
I've heard stories.
And I wasn't in the picture. I was out in the crowd.
Me neither, Coleman.
But I remember the house. But the thing about it is that little house didn't stay there very long. It wasn't long till you had done so great that you got the beginnings of the new building there.
Yep.
Of course, that's been expanded, and then you've got the monster behind it.
Absolutely.
It's been a tremendous story, and all three of you have been a part of that for the years that you have put in. But it's a great success.
Yes, sir,
story.
it is.
And so is this expo. That's a great success story in itself.
Yeah, and we couldn't do it without our partners as well. Just thinking about a few, and most of these are staples that's been there every single year. Fakes and Hooker Lumber, obviously Clinton Ryan and those guys over there and their entire team, love them. They've been a part of the show well before us.
Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin Moore Paint has to come show up to the show, $2,500 paint. Busy Bee HVAC, they're going to be back with us as a sponsor this year. Tri-Green Equipment down there on Lebanon Road. Kaufman Farms, MasterCard, and also Absolute Kubota, Matt Bryson, and those folks have always been a staple of the show as well.
We've got about 3 minutes left here, and again, our whole first half devoted to the expo for Wilson Bank Trust. We've done this every year, I think, spent the first half hour talking about this, so this year's no exception. And again, Senator Pody on the second half this morning. But we kind of, in wrapping up, is anything we've left out? Anything, John Presley, you think of, or you just want to go over it again?
Yeah, I was going to say, again, I think we kind of hit some good high points there. Again, we've got those great specials, anything from HELOCs to construction to CDs. We've got several specials there. Again, want to mention it is a free show, so the only thing that you'll be pulling your wallet out for is any kind of food or anything that you purchase there, so completely free to attend.
And free parking as well.
Free parking as well, yes, sir. So,
that's always
like I said,
nice.
we'd love to see you out, love to see a good crowd, and hopefully it continues as we have in the past. So,
And it is 4 to 8 today. Tomorrow,
9 to 5.
9
Yes,
to
sir.
5.
That's right.
All right. Now I'm gonna let you add anything to Jay Woods, a loan officer that you are, to add anything that you've left out or you want to reemphasize.
Yeah, just to reemphasize those dates and times. Again, it does start tonight, this afternoon, from 4 to 8. Bright and early tomorrow morning, from 9 to 5. We've got over 110 vendors that are going to be there. A lot of good food there. I know for Traveling Tom's coffee truck, my wife loves that, so she'll show, if anything, just to get some coffee there. So she's going to be excited about that.
Well, we're looking at you, Kurt Baker.
I just like to brag on these guys. I know it's been mentioned to Jay, loan officer, several times, JP as well, both of them. I mean, Coleman, they can do everything from a $500 credit card all the way up to a $10 million commercial deal. So these guys are some of the most well-versed that we have in the banking system, the bank's footprint, specifically here in the Lebanon, Wilson County area. So any of your borrowing needs or just trying to create a banking relationship for a deposit account or something, come see these two guys out there. I don't want to say emerging leaders. They've been leaders for quite some time. So really just want to brag on them. And we have a great experienced lending team and all across Lebanon.
And you did say JP, right?
JP.
I had so many Johns on my teams growing up that we all had to get nicknames, and JP has stuck since I was about 8. So
Maybe I can remember that. Well, it's really good to talk about this. Good to have all three of you here. And Kurt, you've been here many times, and we kind of go to you if we're wondering what we're going to say next. Mm-hmm. But you're a good one to have to do that. But appreciate all you've done for the community, all you've done for the bank, and the fact that you've been here sort of as our leader this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
DJ Woods, nice to have you, and your expert comments with us this morning. And JP, John Presley, good to see you as well. And the two of you going to really be wanting to contact all these people for loans that's going to help them from the expo.
yes, sir.
You'll
Absolutely.
be there this afternoon.
I will be there tonight. I'm not sure when DeJay's there, but
Yeah, we're gonna walk through this afternoon, make sure everything's flowing and going. Like I said, we got a really good team that put this on. Really, we're just kind of the faces, if you will, but a lot of heavy lifting in the back. And then tomorrow is basically when I'll be there most of the day, all day tomorrow.
All right. We'll keep all that in mind. You got a last word?
yeah, I think
You were whispering.
like I said, well, I was trying to.
I did. I was trying to motion Jay. Laura Smith, like DeJay mentioned, our entire marketing team, but Laura Smith is our events coordinator at the bank. Man, she puts so much time in this. She's out there, I'm sure, right now, been out there all week. Just special thanks to her and her hard work because we couldn't do it without her.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us. And that's it today from Wilson Bank and Trust and part one of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more FM 98.9.
And at 7:31, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota. They'll help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota. Check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader. 1506 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still quite a bit of traffic volume out here in the normal spots, like 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area. All that traffic leaving Rutherford County up through Davidson County. Wilson County traffic's been in pretty good shape, with the exception of lots of radar. For some reason, again, up and down I-40 in the Wilson County area out through Smith County as well. Hey, Nash Painting services all in Middle Tennessee. They're online at nashpainting.com or just give them a call at 615-912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Love is in the air. Would you just love to sell your home, but you don't know what it's worth? We would love for you to call us and we can preview your home and tell you the current market value. There is no obligation. We love selling homes and we would love to sell yours.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Hemmentaler at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
Dry skies and mild temperatures coming our way to round out the work week. Look for a high of 56 degrees today with a gentle breeze out there. Temperatures will be around freezing overnight with a low of 31. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two. It's a Friday morning. Our friends from Wilson Bank and Trust are making it out the door now, and Senator Pody has come in. He's going to be on part two, but we always start the second half on Friday mornings talking about the C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty, and we've got Miss Judy with us this morning. You want to say good morning?
Good morning, and I have a surprise guest.
Yes, and we have Mike Cox with us today. And Mike, it's always good to have you. You don't come much anymore, but Miss Judy says she's going to let you do most of the talking today, I think. So we better let her get hers out of the way first.
That's right. Well, just make sure if you're still looking for a house, we've got most of those we've been talking about, the one in Murfreesboro and the one in Westview Acres, all those are under contract now. So there are no more showings on those because we've got those ready to close. We're going to be having one coming soon on Castle Heights Avenue. It's 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, and it's right there on the corner of Castle Heights and West Adams. So that one will be coming by the weekend, by next weekend. We'll have that one ready to go. And the one over in Colonial Village, they reduced it $10,000 to $4,099, and it's 3 bedrooms, could be 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, fenced-in backyard. So if you want to be in Colonial Village, have a small yard but fenced in, and right in the center of town, it's $409 for that square footage is a good price. So anyway, he's relocating is the reason why he's reduced it so much, so he can get. He's from Egypt, and he's going back to Egypt. His family's already there, so he's ready to get this house sold so he can get back with his family. So I'm going to let Mike now talk, and I'll be quiet.
Well, of course, the Exit Rocky Top C&D team, 1330 West Main in Lebanon, great people, great service. I hadn't said that in the beginning, but Mike is a big part of it, maybe not as big a part as he used to be, but it's always good to have you. So good morning again.
Good morning, Coleman.
What do you got for us?
Well, I just wanted to come in today, and Medina took a little time, I guess, doing something for herself today. And, for all the years when Wilson Bank first started the expo, I was one of the first people there. Unfortunately, Ted Alls was there, and Jimmy Dial for Fakes and Hooker. And then we had Lance Summerall for Southern Plumbing that was there. And they took us, and we split the whole half of the first building. And I had to actually go back and build my booth bigger all the way around it because, I didn't just build a booth. I went out there and built something that looked good. Well, if I'm going to be there, I'll try to do it. And then Ted and them had to jump in themselves and rework theirs. So, but that's when it first got started. And then after 2 or 3 years, we looked at the first year and we're like, we hope this is going to keep going. And it did. And today it's just unbelievable to go from them 2 little tiny rooms at the fairgrounds to we're filling the whole expo up. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, it's kind of grown. It started small like the fair and grown exponentially.
Yeah, it has. And, a lot of that is, Randall, they just kept beating the bushes, and a lot of the other vendors that were there did the same thing. There was a lot of the older people that are now retired, or some people have passed on, and so I know they usually keep a pretty good list. So I'm sure they're looking for some good vendors that'll. You got to have people that's going to come every year. I mean, you can't just decide I'm coming this year and then I'm coming back next year. So. But I enjoyed doing that with them, and I hope they have a great weekend for it.
Well, it sounds like everything is all set, and again, starts at 4 o'clock this afternoon, 4 to 8, and then 9 to 5, I believe they said, tomorrow.
They got a lot of good people on that team from the bank, especially now that they've got more people to help do it, and it's not such a big workload on, I can remember when Tiffy Tucker did it for years, and I mean, she was running everywhere. Her and Robert were like, wow.
Robert Hudson.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. I thought it was kind of ironic that they'll be having Ted Alls' funeral this weekend on Saturday, and he was one of the ones that helped be there as the first vendors with Fakes and Hooker with Mike. And we want to pray for Kristen and Ryan, their families, as they go through that this weekend. But I thought it was odd. He's being honored the same weekend as the Home and Garden Show.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, if Ted had the choice, he would be there, but he would want this show to go on. So, I mean, if you would have went and asked him, I guarantee you, the way I know Ted Alls and the worker he was, that he's like, no, the show is going on. So,
well, it's really good to see you today. We just reminded, of course, everybody you have a lot going for you. At the C&D team, they're at 1330 West Main. You and Medina and the other people you got working. You're not the biggest team in town, but boy, you're well known, and you might be the hardest workers from what I hear.
We always say that we're
large enough to care and
Large enough to serve,
large
small
enough
enough
to
to care.
serve and small enough to care.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
Okay. All right.
A long time ago, that was the slogan.
Well, you've come up with another, and I guess I get to do this today.
Yes,
if
you better,
Medina's
Madame
not here.
Tommy. Make sure it was said.
Don't make a move without us.
That's right. You do not make a move without us. Don't make a move without us.
Thank you all for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right. Mike, Judy Cox, C&D team, exit Rocky Top Loyalty, 1330 West Main here in Lebanon. Senator Pody is here. Now, Senator, you want to go ahead and say good morning?
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day.
Do you want to sit where you are, or you want to move over where Miss Judy is?
I want actually to stay right here and talk to Miss Judy for just a second.
Oh.
She helped me with something that was very, very special. And Coleman, there's so many special people that has made Wilson County great. And sometimes, we don't always remember. But one of the people that really helped this community was somebody named Brother Don Owens. Mm-hmm. And he helped do so much for Emmanuel Baptist Church. And it's just an awesome church there. And so Judy helped me to do a resolution for him. And we did a special resolution. It was a Senate joint resolution, and we got it to number 3 in the state, which is kind of really awesome to have a brand new session and have him honored is in that number. So I thought that was great. And I just wanted to thank Judy and your whole everybody for helping to do this and remembering somebody like that and that honor that we
You're welcome. And thank you for all you did to have a part of this with the city mayors and Mark Pody. They all pull this together for us, and I really do appreciate that so much.
Well, it's people like Brother Owens that really help set the tone of a community like this.
That's
So
right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator, we're glad to have you, and of course, as I announced last week, and maybe a little before, and a couple of times this morning, you were on the second half today. But our audience, I don't think it's exactly the same the first half hour as it is the second half hour. So there might be one or two that you're reaching today you don't normally reach.
All right. Well, and to the new people that maybe I don't get to talk to on a regular basis, I can tell you the biggest thing that happened this week was the State of the State that Governor Lee did on Monday evening. And he proposed a $55.6 billion budget. Now, I am one of these fiscally conservative people in what I say and what I do. Now, and I got to tell you that I am disappointed in the budget. I just am. 2 years ago, we were at a budget of about $40 billion. And if we could run our state at about $40 billion and we go up to 55, that's a huge, huge increase. And I've heard it said, well, we got extra money, so you can't blame the budget for doing it. But it's frustrating when we could run our state a couple years ago at $40 billion, now we're at 55. We haven't given all that money back to the Tennessee taxpayers. We haven't, we've expanded government. We've got new programs, and one of the new programs is like we're gonna be giving diapers for 2 years to mothers. It's like nowhere in my Constitution does it say that we should be giving diapers. Now, people are gonna call me heartless and such, but that's just expanding government, and I don't think that's the right road that Tennessee should be on, And when we were doing this and we seen these numbers, I was saying, this is the wrong road. We got too much money coming in. We got to get it back to the taxpayers. But we went from 40 billion to 55 billion. We're here right now.
Well, I've got to ask this, is how much of that has to do with federal government passing through? Is part of the increase some of that?
So we did get some of that, but we're not going to continue to get that anymore. In fact, it's going to be cut. And because it's going to be cut, it's going to be up to taxpayers. Tennessee taxpayers are going to have to pick up the difference. We spent that money. We did not return it. We didn't do the things that we should have done with it. And now it's going to be up to us to keep that number going, because it's not going to be coming from the feds. I will tell you that Tennessee is one of the largest recipients of federal money as far as a percentage of our budget. We get over about 38% of our money from the federal government. And we know that the federal government is starting to cut back. In fact, they cut back this year. We're getting less this year than we did last year. So our budget went up. It means that Tennessee is going to have to pick up the difference.
Well, one of the things that I have observed, it may not be 100% true, but nearly all the time it seems that once we start a program, you can almost never get rid of it. It's sometimes even hard to curtail. You spend that money, people expect it, and usually they expand, not decrease.
That's exactly right. And it's not that I want to cut the things going to people that need it. But there's a difference between a church filling their needs and nonprofits doing their needs and government doing what they're supposed to do. You know, if government would just stay in its own lane and do exactly what it's supposed to do and let the nonprofits do what they're supposed to do and churches do what they're supposed to do, I think we would all go a whole lot farther than what it is.
What are there? Do you have colleagues down there that share your sentiment on this?
Not many. Most of them, they feel good because we're doing good things for people. It's like, look, if we're going to give diapers for 2 years, that's a good thing, but is it the government's role to do that? And nobody wants to say we're going to deprive mothers of the diapers that they need. I get that. But I would just rather stay in government's role, let government do what government's supposed to do.
Well, I heard another thing that somebody's proposing that we have totally free lunches and maybe free breakfast for school children.
And I've heard that as well. And I'm one that's opposed to that. I'm one to say, you know, parents, let you make sure your kids are fed before they come to school. That is a parental responsibility. It's not a school responsibility. You know, I would rather make sure that when they get to school that they have high, good quality teachers and those teachers are compensated for what they do. And let our teachers focus on educating the kids and not feeding them. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes the schools are doing this because the kids are hungry. I get that. I understand that. But I'd really like to make sure that the parents do their role and give the teachers the opportunity to do their roles. We've got great teachers, but it's hard when we turn those teachers into social workers and everything else rather than just being the instructors and the teachers that they were trained to be.
Let's take our break. Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford. Get $50 off, $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. I'm looking at a crash over here. It's got traffic a mess. 24 eastbound at Ellington Parkway. That's slowing down that traffic now on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Again, there's a wreck with injuries on 24 eastbound at Ellington Parkway. I'm also looking at a wreck on 40 westbound. It's going to be out here in Hermitage area, almost into Donaldson. Actually, before you get to Donaldson Pike, that's going to slow you down as you come in from Wilson County. There in that section of Nashville on 40 going west up near the airport. Nash Painting Services all of Middle Tennessee. They're online at right now, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Join us at the 2023 Southern Home and Garden Expo presented by Wilson Bank and Trust. This is a great time for you to connect with local vendors, explore new products and services, and meet our experienced local lenders who can help bring your vision to life. So come visit the Southern Home and Garden Expo at the Farm Bureau Expo Center in Lebanon on Friday and Saturday, February 10th and 11th. There will be exclusive prizes and giveaways, so make sure you do not miss out. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey Cumberland baseball fans, this is senior outfielder Cole Turney from Richmond, Texas. We have a series this Friday and Saturday at home at 1 o'clock versus Indiana Wesleyan University. We'd love to see you out there at the 6. But if you can't make it to the ballpark, you can listen on WANT 98.9, WCOR 1490, WANTFM.com, or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. We'll meet you there. Go Birds.
Coleman and Company, our Friday Senate report. Senator Mark Pody. We're on the second half this morning. We've done this every year. When we have the expo, you come on the second half. I won't say more about that. I don't want to take up more of your time. But where are we in the process of things? Now, we've had the governor's State of the State address. The legislature goes to work, and I guess committees are in full swing and all that taking place.
We sure are. And so if I had to look at it, we're probably 25% of the way done with the session already, okay? And the first month or so, we're just kind of getting warmed up, reorganization and things like that. But we are in full swing. Committees are hearing bills, at least in the Senate, and we're voting on them. We're getting them on. We're getting them onto the floor. In fact, one of the bills that we voted on yesterday was what they called the drag shows, and where can you do drag shows and such. And we just said that there should be more done where children aren't allowed to see them. So we passed a bill, and it was a little bit controversial. It was actually went right down party lines. So there was Republicans voted for it, Democrats voted against it, and that doesn't happen a lot. But it was a controversial bill, but it did pass. And I want to go back to the state of the state for just a second.
Well, wait a minute, you said this is the Senate, or is it the Senate and House?
So the Senate's passed it, and it should be up in the House shortly. So it'll be coming up there, and then it'll be
by the Senate.
It passed by the Senate.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. But I got to tell you some good news on what we did see in the state of the state. And one of the things I've said, Coleman, is that roads is something that we're supposed to be doing. And we are putting in normally about $2 billion into our roads. So if we look at all the gas tax, everything that comes in from the feds and the state, we get about $2 billion for our roads every single year. So we're going to get that $2 billion this year, but we're going to be putting in an additional $3 billion. So that's 150% more to help get us caught up on some of the potholes, get us caught up on some of the projects that we're behind. And I like that move, okay? That is a good move for me. I know it's a huge number, but I think that roads is something we're supposed to be investing in. We have that surplus, and so I like that idea of putting
Is
money.
most of this money spent with contractors who do this work?
Yes, so actually TDOT itself is cutting positions. And we're doing more of hiring out this work rather than the state having employees doing it themselves. So we found it to be more economical for the state to hire a contractor to do that road. And we've also found that by doing what they call a design build, and that means we're letting the contractor help in the process of designing that road rather than the state saying, here's exactly how it needs to be. We're letting contractors come in and say, if you let us build it this way, we can do it for this price. That has saved a lot of money to the state of Tennessee, and it's cut down the number of years it takes to build a road, because those contractors that are bidding on this, they know what they're bidding on. They're the ones helping to submit this design, and it's worked very well for Tennessee for the last few years. We did it on a pilot program, and it's worked. So we're going to continue to widen that pilot program, and I think that'll be a good alternative way of us to build our roads faster.
Any reason to think that this won't sail through and that we will have that $5 billion and get on with it?
No, it'll go right through. I think that this is, for one thing that we're looking at across the state of Tennessee, we got a lot of road projects behind. You know, back in 2017, we passed what they called the Improve Act, and we had about 960 projects on there. Now, we've divided some of those up, so now there's like actually about 1,000 projects. We got about a third of them that are done, and we're started on another third, but we are way behind on getting those projects done. And the budget, as inflation goes, it's just getting more and more expensive every single day.
Well, I have felt years ago that we had some of the better roads, but I do think they have deteriorated some, or maybe we just haven't kept up with the maintenance and with all maybe that we should have. Of course, I think we have more roads, but I think what you're doing is a good thing, and it's needed.
Absolutely. Now, I will tell you one of the best things about Tennessee, and we're one of the few states in the entire nation that can say this, all of our roads are paid for. If you look at some of these other roads in the other states, they borrow money. They take bonds and they borrow money to build their road. We don't. We're a pay-as-you-go state, and I like that idea because when we pay for it, we're not paying the interest and everything else. Our roads are paid for, and being the type of individual I am, I like that idea that if we don't have the money, we don't do it. So I feel good about what we're doing with the roads and adding this $3 billion.
What else about the State of the State address and the proposals that the governor's offered would you like to comment on this morning? Of course, I mean, it's a pretty lengthy address, and a lot of things are covered, and some you no doubt appreciate, and some you don't appreciate as much, maybe even opposed.
Yes. So one of the things I did like is our rainy day fund. Now, I'm in the financial planning business a little bit. I sell insurance, and I always recommend people have, look, you need about 3 months of an emergency fund. If you lost your job, you got disabled, whatever, you need about 3 months of an emergency fund. So in Tennessee, our emergency fund, we call it the rainy day fund, we have about 60 days. So we have about 2 months. Now, some people say, well, that's more than enough, and other people say that's not enough, and I'm one of those that would like to say, I'd love to have about a 90-day emergency fund. So we could, no matter what happened, no matter what the disaster, we would have that. It would keep our bond ratings up and so forth. And we are putting about $250 million more into our emergency day fund, rainy day fund, and that's good that we're putting it in. I would have liked to see that doubled and put more money in there, especially in a time that we have this extra money. Mm-hmm. So if I can, I'm going to try and do more than the 250 to get that into that rainy day fund. To get it, if you say how much, I'd like to see 90 days in that emergency day fund. Now, it's one thing to say, well, it's the record high. We got more money in there than we've ever had, and that's interesting because where it's not how much you have in there, it's how many days it will last. When we had a $40 billion budget, you wouldn't need as much. But now that we're a $55 billion budget, you need a whole lot more to keep these services and such going if something happened. So I need to put more in there, and that's something else that we want to do. One thing that worked well that the governor talked about was we made a partnership with the federal government and how we're doing TennCare. And Coleman, this was awesome. And a lot of people were frustrated when we were doing it. This would have been a year or two ago. But we said to the federal government, look, you give us the allotment of the TennCare money and let us spend it. Let us decide, make these decisions without as many rules and regulations. And if we come up with a savings, then we're going to split that. So we'll give the federal government part of that money back and we keep part of it. And just let us make the decisions here locally and not the federal government making the decisions how to spend the money. And it's worked well. We got a lot of additional money from TennCare that we were able to use. And I'm talking millions and millions of dollars. And we're going to be able to use that to, for example, help more with some dental care and such for people on TennCare that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So again, if the federal government would just keep their hands off of it and let us do it, we're doing it a whole lot better than what the federal government was doing before.
Is that a general consensus? Those people who opposed what you wanted to do, have they come around, or are they still opposed?
They're still a little bit opposed to it because they're thinking that the more we can let the federal government do, the more we can let the federal government run our health care, give health care for everybody, a single pay system is what they would like. And anytime that we're pushing back against the federal government and saying, let us do us in Tennessee, they don't like that. They would rather have a one single pay system where everybody's covered underneath a federal program. So we're still fighting that, although this was, again, another way that we could prove by millions and millions of dollars how much better we did in Tennessee with that money.
All right, I don't want to go back to this $55.6 billion budget here. Do you anticipate that entire amount being funded?
I do. Yes, the money's there, and they're going to fund it. We are going to be giving some of the money back, and there's going to be some things like we're going to say last year in August, we had a 1 month sales tax holiday, and so for the month of August, you didn't have to pay sales tax on food. That's going to be expanded to 3 months, and I like that, okay? So that's giving back the taxpayer money. They're also going to be doing about $150 million in tax cuts for businesses. So we are going to be giving some tax cuts that way. But overall, the money is there. The money in Tennessee is coming. We are anticipating a little bit of a dip of money coming in, a recession, however you want to put it. We're isolated a little bit in Tennessee, but it is going to be creeping around. We got to watch how that money comes in. I just don't want to spend more than we can count on, so we don't have to come to our taxpayers in a year, 2 years, and say, hey, we're a little bit short because of recession. We're going to have to raise taxes or something down the road. Spend only the money you have. Budget it. Spend it wisely.
Well, that's the whole name of your game, I think, when we're talking about finances. But does it? It's too bad everybody doesn't do that. That's my opinion.
Yes. Well, you know what? But I'm the same way with our personal finances and such. And people if they would just make sure that they don't spend more money than they have. Don't do credit card debt. It's not the right thing to do. You're always going to pay more than what you thought it would be. So I don't want the state to do the same thing. And what somebody does in their personal business is up to them. But on the state side, I'm going to be as fiscally conservative as I possibly can.
Any bills of local interest that you're going to be asked to do?
Yes. So one of them I'm going to be actually working with was one of our judges retired and came back and said, you know what, I want to perform a wedding. And as a judge, you can perform a wedding. But when you're retired from certain types of judges, you can. But when there's other types of judges, you can't. So we're going to try and make it where all judges, when they retire, can perform a wedding. And that's what I'm doing right now. So that bill will be up next week and in judiciary, and I don't have any opposition to it that I'm aware of, so that should pass, and that came from a local judge, retired judge here in Wilson County. Mm-hmm. So that's something that's kind of cool that comes, anytime something came from a local individual that we can help them, I like doing that. Something else with us, I'm working very hard with TDOT on how we can expand that new interchange in Mount Juliet. And we're working on that. And I will tell you, the city of Mount Juliet has really come up, and they have worked with the governor, they work with TDOT on how we can do this. And I actually have another meeting with the commissioner of TDOT next week. So we're going to be talking about this again to see what our next steps can be to move that project up as fast as we can to get that project going.
But the fact that they have committed an enormous amount of money to do this, it's got to be in their favor.
It absolutely does. So I will tell you that in this case, I think Mount Juliet has done everything correct. They've got the right letters. They've gotten the skin in the game. They've worked with TDOT, and it's been a good planned project for a long period of time. They made a terrific of all the presentations that I've ever set up with the governor, and whether this governor or the previous governor, this was the best one that they did in Mount Juliet. I just got to give my tip a hat to them. They did a great job in that presentation. The governor normally just gives somebody just a few minutes, like 15 minutes or whatever, or 10 minutes, and when their press or their secretary comes in, opens the door and says, you got to go, and the governor turns and says, no, I want to stay right here, and continues to listen. So they're bumping somebody else's appointment. They did a great job.
Yeah. Well, our time has come and gone. You'll be with us next week, but in the usual slot, the first half. But thanks for your visit today, and we always appreciate seeing you.
Al Coleman, thanks for being.
Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report. That does it for this day. Have a nice weekend. Till Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.